In 2879, the Aegis Dynamics medium spacecraft factory at Davion played host to an unusual milestone, a formal event celebrating the 300th anniversary of a still-serving spacecraft design. On hand were the thousands of engineers currently working on the Gladius, hundreds of veteran Gladius pilots representing every conflict in living memory, and the descendants of the original team that first developed the fighter at the height of a very different era. An array of military and civilian dignitaries spoke at the event, praising a spacecraft that had long outserved its intended lifespan, and which had a nearly immeasurable impact on modern space conflict doctrine. To a modern fighter pilot, the naval strategy of the 26th century would seem incomprehensible. Fleet operations were built entirely around the ability of large, armoured warships to bring heavy weapons to bear against one another and heavily protected planetary installations and orbital platforms. Fighters and interceptors would seem like something of an afterthought, carried aboard battleships and cruisers primarily to increase their scouting abilities. A Gladius pilot in the 2580s was responsible for reconnaissance first, and then a variety of less common missions that centred mostly around providing escort coverage for pinpoint strike bombers and landing craft. Modern pilots would also be hard-pressed to identify what was considered a fighter before the Gladius. The Gladius was initially requested as a nominal replacement for the Stiletto-class interceptor, a dedicated light fighter then entering its 5th decade of service. Most fighters, or parasite ships as they were referred, were intended for space operations only, and their design lineage called up the modular rockets that powered humanity's initial space expansion as much as they did military hardware, and especially anything aviation related. The Stiletto, a sort of fast, weaponed tube with a variety of potential technical mounting points amidship, embodied these principles exactly. Aegis's premiere of the Gladius in 2589 shattered this image by moving to a light fighter that could not only operate within an atmosphere, but could be launched from existing ground facilities. Where the Stiletto was found only aboard warships, Gladius units could be assigned anywhere and everywhere. Coming just 30 years after the end of the First Tevaran War, the first model Gladius represented Aegis's integration of all the lessons now thoroughly studied from that war. The project was called Wildcat during its development, but the production model of the ship was renamed Gladius at the last minute by request of the Imperator's administration. The Messers, then consolidating their power, were frequent users of ancient Roman imagery in their propaganda and saw a benefit in presenting the new type of fighter as being the common sword of the people. The growing United Empire of Earth's Navy designated the new spacecraft the P-5G. The Messer administration put production of the Gladius on a war footing almost immediately after its launch, seeking to have the ultramodern fighter design emphasise its powerful overhaul of the human military. The Gladius scored its first space-to-space kill in 2591 in an engagement with a pirate freighter, but primarily spent its first years serving in propaganda efforts. The Gladius was particularly commonplace in recruiting efforts, where the opportunity to fly one of the spectacular ships was seen as a good way to entice the increased number of bodies needed to outfit the growing navy. The Gladius's appearance proved equal to its abilities in 2603 during the Second Tevaran War, where the spacecraft proved effective both dogfighting against the contemporary Tevaran Talon fighters, striking landing craft, support ships, and even corvette-sized capital assets. The Gladius quickly made itself an effective case study for the modern space naval doctrine that the war would establish. For the first time, dedicated fleet carriers capable of operating multiple squadrons of fighters at a time were constructed and made the centerpieces of battle groups. Throughout its lifespan, Aegis Dynamics has continued to modernize the Gladius. While the design itself has remained visually similar, massive changes to both the frame and systems have been made dozens of times over the centuries, with the latest total rework of the internal control systems happening in 2945. In 2720, the Gladius logged another major first as it became the first military fighter to carry a short-range jump drive as part of production. Intended to support long-range search and rescue and reconnaissance missions, the addition of the jump drive to the Gladius is often cited as a particularly important decision in its impact on other spacecraft development. Rumours of the Gladius's retirement have circulated for at least the past century, although there has been no formal plan announced by the UEEN. When Anvil launched the Hornet fighter and a number of frontline squadrons transitioned, many saw this as evidence of the Gladius's obsolescence. But as the Hornet itself is now replaced by the Lightning, Gladius squadrons continue to operate throughout the Empire with excellent results. In 2936, Gladius watchers became increasingly concerned as Anvil Aerospace premiered a new carrier-based plane, the Gladiator. Aerospace media initially treated this as proof positive that the UEEN was preparing to permanently delist the Gladius based on only the belief that the names were too similar to operate together. It was ultimately revealed that the similarity in names was planned from the start, part of a psychological warfare effort intended to help further obscure the entire capacity of the fleet aerospace arm. Similar efforts were made to disguise spacecraft designations around this same time. Regardless of rumours of its impending demise, the Gladius continues to serve extensively in modern conflicts. In the hands of a properly trained pilot, the Gladius has remained effective in battle against Vandal raiders, with the current model being roughly equivalent to the Vandal Blade light fighter in arms and defences. The UEEN has also developed a set of run-and-gun tactics for Gladius wingman pairs to help counter the superior abilities of Scythe and Glaive space superiority fighters. As of the FY 2951 budget, production of the Gladius will actually increase by 15%, and Aegis continues to invest in upgrade packages and next-generation variants of the design. The first military Gladius models were rated for 12,000 hours of flight time before retirement, which equates to roughly 20 years of peacetime service per frame. That number has increased to 35,000 hours with the latest models, but it still means that boneyards around the Empire have been decommissioning the design by the thousands for hundreds of years. For the first 50 years of its service, the UEEN considered the Gladius so highly classified that the retired examples needed to be rendered completely flightless. As the Navy settled into an extended period of peacetime and civilian spacecraft advanced during the 27th century, stripped Gladiuses began to become available on the civilian market. The first civilian Gladius owners were primarily hobbyist racers who would adapt civilian technology to re-equip the stripped ex-military ships. These Gladiuses would take on unusual silhouettes and be painted garish colours to assist those viewing races from the ground. The ranks of these pilots typically included retired military Gladius pilots seeking to recapture the thrill of their earlier careers. Gladius racing gave rise to a brief period of interest in the use of the ships for stunt flying, with several groups of hobbyists forming flying circuses to put on aerospace displays for adoring crowds. While stunt flying has never regained the popularity it achieved in the 2650s, Gladiuses are still used for demonstration purposes today, typically with much more reliable original parts. Over the past 2 centuries, additional civilian roles for surplus Gladius equipment have been developed. In addition to typical mercenary operations, Gladiuses have been used for fast courier missions, as flight trainers, when equipped with a rear seat, and even adapted as crop dusters. Some Gladiuses have been outfitted by pirates for raiding purposes, although their numbers are believed to be insignificant compared to the number of outlaws operating repurposed civilian designs. In 2944, the UEEN officially acknowledged civilian Gladius ownership and began selling decommissioned Gladiuses directly to qualified buyers with the intention of outfitting home defence squadrons that would help delay Vandal raids where stronger naval coverage was not available. These ships are allowed to retain almost all their military equipment, being sold with their weapons, thrusters, and a purpose-built declassified version of their standard control systems. The sale of surplus Gladiuses has been seen as unique among similar military spacecraft sales because of the number of spacecraft it has put back into service and because they have been available to a more widespread portion of the population.
The Adobe Eye Tracker 5 is on sale until the 3rd of January 2025. You can get 20% off now. It gives you natively supported high precision head and eye tracking in Star Citizen, and it is absolutely awesome for deeper immersion, for combat, for a whole range of stuff as long as you use it. Go to toby.gg/BoredGamer or use the links below to get that discount and help the channel. Ho ho ho! Hey there, Timmy. No! That's Northern Claus. No, Timmy, I am normal Santa with presents for you. You're really a normal Santa? Yes, why would I lie about that? I'll have the one on the left. There you go, Timmy. Open your lovely box of spiders. I hate spiders! So do I, Timmy. That's why I would have picked the other box, which was full of NordVPN. Ho, ho, ho. Use the links below to get nordvpn.com/BoredGamer and help protect yourself online, but also give you better accessibility. It should be part of your Christmassy toolbox. Merry Nordmas, one and all. Every month we give away a Star Citizenship, and December is no different. We're giving away a Starlancer Max, the new super freelancer by MISC. This allows you to do a little bit of everything in the verse. It's a great multi-role ship, multi-mission ship, and multi-crew. It's flyable in-game right now as well. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during December. That engagement helps the channel. Something else that helps the channel is liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing these videos. Thank you very much to the people that have gone the extra mile by clicking the join button or becoming Patreons. That really helps the channel so much. There'll occasionally be some exclusive content going up there. It'll be like Zin and I playing an escape room. So thank you so much, and feel free to join those lovely people by clicking on the join button or the Patreon link under the videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great ho 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 Nordmas!